Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Monday morning, 0 dark 30. And I'm blasting out of the bunker with a giant freaking headache from last night and all that scotch that you guys took care of me with. Hey, that didn't stop us from having a great show. And I want to thank everyone for participating, bringing on every subject across the spectrum. We're ready, folks. Getting prepared. It's going to get worse, though. So this morning, what's on my mind? Well, folks, SHTF. It is a tale of two medias. It truly is. So something went wrong with George Orwell's 1984. Something went badly wrong. You see, in that book, which had to do with a totalitarian, evil government that controlled its people by destroying them through their minds, owning them, dominating them. Now, of course, there's heavy-duty police force. We know that. We know that they have that potential. But they did it mainly through psychological manipulation and, of course, abuse. So how did they do that? Well, the protagonist of the story, and if you're a government person, you would probably call him the antagonist. Anyways, the character in the story works for the Ministry of Propaganda. That is to say, he's responsible for creating bigger and better lies for the state. And he realizes, yeah, this is a sham. It's a total sham. So he, tries exposing it, tries fighting it, tries investigating it, seeing what's going on. Well, we don't have that story, right? The people didn't have any other voice back or in the story, in that in the 1984 version of things. There's only the government and its media. That's it. There's nothing else. Fast forward to today, way past 1984, something happened. Well, that's right. We have a country divided. There was never a country united, by the way. Well, there was at one time a country that believed just in the United States of America and freedom and liberty, but it was always divided over how we would maintain that. At some point, there was a split. And fortunately, that split exists, and our rights were in place so that we have two medias. There's always been, folks, newspapers and what the people think. There's always been radio and what the people think. There's always been television and what the people think. There has always been the internet and what people think. There's always been the mainstream media and what we, the people, think is really going on. My first huge taste of this was the invention of the fax machine, where exposure to this alternative viewpoint was solidified. It was understood. It became well known to me. Right, the fax machine. You could only hear what was coming across the news on the radio. That's all you could hear. It is all you could hear. Right. Anyways, this thing called the fax machine. I'd show up at work, and there would be reams of paper lying on the floor. Reams of paper lying on the floor. Because there were jokes coming through, political commentary coming through, opinion coming through, fax machine. Every morning it was there. And it was an alternative source, an alternative way to think about stuff. And it was good. And then, right, then there was another alternative form of media that popped up about that same time. And it was pre-internet. And these things just showed up in my mail. It was information in the form of photocopied stories. Much like the fax machine, people were making their own stories, their own, shall we say, interpretations, additional news that was left out by the mainstream media. So the tale of two medias was begun up here. Right? It was more than just what I kind of felt on the inside or thought about. It was being confirmed. There's other shit going on, right? And that part of it happened right at and then after Waco, Texas, when the government's heavy-handedness came through, and the mainstream media, the prime media, the legacy media, was showing us stuff that just didn't quite look right, didn't smell right, didn't sound right. And so people had opinions. They shared them. They used the telephone. They used the fax machine. And then they started generating their own media in the form of videos and duplicating them on VHS tapes and mailing them around the country at their expense. Very expensive, but very effective. This tale of two medias, this split in America between what is and isn't, and what's true and what's not, and what is a bunch of half-truths, poisoned with toxic lies. Well, then came the internet. The government thought they had us by the balls, that they could control everything once again, limit our sources. Instead, it became a superhighway for the most asinine conspiracy theories, the most ridiculous fairy tales, and also alternative ideas. So the biggest control barons, we should say today, it's no longer television or radio. Nope. It is, of course, through the internet, and they have to control it. So the barons of the internet, YouTube, Google, Twitter, Facebook, that's right, they're all right there trying to control us, trying to corral us, trying to silence us. Why should they need to if truth is its own verification, right? Truth is its own verification. Fact is its own verification. Why do we need someone to tell us what we can and can't say? So now we have a country that's being divided even further because the attempt to silence us is so, how do we say this? Transparent. Let's use the word trans. It's transparent. Their attempts are transparent. We know what they're doing. They're trying to silence us. They want their 1984. They want their one government source of news, government approved, government sanctioned, using corporations that are actually proxy government mouthpieces. Thank God, folks, for those who are strong enough to stand up and shout fact and shout their opinions. We're all allowed our opinions from the rooftops. But understand this, we are under attack. There's a tale of two medias, and they don't like ours. And that's why I want to thank you for supporting this channel, for supporting free speech. You vote with your feet, you vote with your mouse. Where you want to go, where you want to listen, what you believe and think. TV doesn't let you do that. TV is nothing but their legacy bullshit. Radio, same story. I don't even listen to talk radio anymore, but it was a mainstay in the 90s and then the early 2000s to get alternative information while at work, while driving. Not anymore, folks, because they unified their voice. Television also, the only alternative voice appears to be Tucker Carlson, with the occasional Maria Bartiromo until she gets corralled and put back in her pen. Chance favors the prepared mind. Semper Fi. Godspeed. Tell everyone, wake the hell up, or reap the whirlwind.